Welcome to SoulForger the card game tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going over how to set up the game and how to play the game. All the phases you will take and what all the cards and everything on the cards mean. And if you are unsure on something, leave a comment below or join our Discord group. Links will be down below. If you are on Tabletop Simulator playing our game, we keep a manual of the card game on the table, and if you're printing and playing, you'll be able to find the instructions on the main website. The link will be below. All rules are as followed unless a card effect or something says otherwise. Let's look at some examples of cards. On the very left, examples of spells and items. Next to them, we have two examples of creatures, and on the right side, we have examples of equipment. Spells, items, and creatures you will find in your main deck, while equipments such as accessories, armor, and weapons you will find in your Forge deck, except for starting gear that you will have at the start of your game. There are different factions: fire, earth, water, air, light, and dark. You can tell the card's faction by the color it is. As we can see, Combuskin Bear is red and is a fire card, while Rogue Goblin is green and is an earth card. On the very bottom of cards, you can see what type it is. Creature cards, you can tell are creatures because they will have an attack and a health represented at the bottom of the card. The attack is on their left, while their health is on the right. Spells and items are easily identified. They have an indicator on the bottom right saying what speed they can be played at. Depending on what is lit up on the bottom right of spells and item cards, lets you know when you will be able to play those cards. Normal spell and items only have the top arrow lit up. Reaction spells and items only have the bottom arrow lit up, while instant spell and items have the top and bottom arrows lit. If any of those types also have the middle gem lit up, that means they are a lingering spell or item as well, meaning they will remain in the spell and item area till they are removed from the board. All cards also, you can find out their effects or abilities if they have one by reading what is on the center in the paper looking area. Some cards have a cost while other cards do not. Let's take Rogue Goblin for example. Rogue Goblin says 1 green card, meaning he will cost 1 green card from your material zone, put it to your graveyard in order to play this card from your hand. Cards in the main deck will revolve around singular cards or 2 cards or 3 cards to play higher level cards, while cost for cards in your Forge deck will work a little differently. As you can see at the top, it says 4 red Ronom, which means you'll need at least 4 Ronom worth of fire cards to forge this card from your Forge deck and equip it. You may use a card that is more than 4 Ronom to forge this card, but you may not exceed past more than what is needed, meaning you can't throw out a lot of extra cards from your material zone to your graveyard just to use them. And Ronom is the other thing that all cards have in common. In the top left corner of every card, you will see a number. That number represents that card's Ronom level. You, the player, will have your own Ronom level that you will level up through playing the game, allowing you to equip stronger equipments, play stronger creatures, and allowing you to use stronger spells or items. Now let's get into the setup of the game, and we'll go through how phases work, how you will level up, how equipment works, playing creatures, and playing spells and items. Setting up the game is fairly simple. If you are not playing on Tabletop Simulator or digitally, then you can find the field on our website, a picture of it if you want to use it as reference. We're going to start our setup by placing our starting equipment face down. We're going to place all of our equipment we will forge later on in the game in our Forge deck zone, and then we'll place all of our main deck cards in the main deck zone. We're going to roll some dice, see who goes first. Maybe y'all like to flip a coin, play rock, paper, scissors. It's all up to you. Before the game starts, after y'all figure out who's going first, in turn order, you're going to draw 6 cards. and then we're going to decide if we're going to mulligan. To mulligan in this game, you just pick however many cards you would like to pull from your hand, put them to the side. You do not have to show your opponent what these cards are. We'll just take these two for now. We're going to put them back into the deck, reshuffle the deck, and then draw the same amount that we put back. Now this is the hand you will start the game with. You do not have to return any cards and redraw if you do want to. Mulligans will take place in order from who's ever going first to who's ever going last. We're just going to flip over our starting gear. Now that we're ready to start playing, let's get into it. The first phase of our turn is the ready phase. The ready phase is when we will get ready for our turn by drawing one card from our main deck, and then any cards that are in the off guard position become ready by turning back to on guard. On guard and off guard will be shown more in the combat section of this tutorial near the end of the video. After all your cards are back to the on guard position and you have drawn a card, we will move on to the next phase of the turn. Now we're in our side quest phase. Our side quest phase is very important to leveling up to allow us to play more cards, stronger equipment, stronger items, and spells. We start the game at level 0. In our side quest phase, there's one thing we can do that will help us adjust our hand, also help us level up. You can take any number of cards in your hand on your side quest phase, send them to your material zone, and then draw the same amount. For this turn, I'll just send one card. I will draw one card to replace it. Since the total Ronom of all the cards was greater than our current level, we will level up by 1. As long as all the cards discarded to the material zone are equal to or greater than your current level, you will level up by 1. That is all you can do during your side quest phase. You can only perform this action once each turn. If you want to readjust your hand and send all the cards in your hand to the material zone and then redraw that many cards, you can, but you still will only go up by 1 level as long as the total Ronom of all the cards sent to the material zone is equal to or greater than your current Ronom level. Now that we are done with the side quest phase, we'll move on to the forge phase. In the forge phase, you'll be able to forge new equipment to equip to yourself, such as weapons, armor, and accessories. You can only have one of each equipped at a time. In order to show you how to forge cards, I'm going to go ahead and speed up our level and the board state just a little bit. Now that we fast forward ourselves to level 4, we'll be able to forge a couple things from our forge deck. Let's go ahead and take a look at our options. We can't forge the level 7 or level 5. Oh, but we can forge Burning Katana. We can forge the new armor if we want. We can forge our quick gem. You can forge as many things as you can or want to. During the forge phase, it will go one at a time. We're going to start with our Burning Katana. It requires 8 fire Ronom. Let's look through our material. That is 6. Do we have anything that costs 2 and we could do it evenly? Yep, we do. So we're going to send our Phoenix and our card Sparks. Send both of these to our graveyard to equip Burning Katana. So we'll remove Training Sword, and now Burning Katana has taken its place. Let's go ahead. Good armor requires 8 Ronom. Gray can be any color, but in this case we are using a fire deck, so we'll just use all fire cards, but it could be any faction, any combination of different factions, as long as it's 8 Ronom or more. Go ahead and use our Combusken Bear, our Fire Blast, and our Raging Flame. That equals 9. And since I'm not using any cards over what is needed, I'll go ahead and send those to the graveyard. We'll get rid of our basic uniform, and now we'll equip our good armor. Now that our good armor is equipped, we'll have to adjust our health. If your previous armor's max health was lower than your new armor's max health, you will increase your health by the difference. Our previous armor's max health was 20 and our new armor's health is 30. We're going to increase our health by 10. I don't have any more material left to forge cards from our forge deck, and I feel set with what I have, so I'll end the forge phase there, and now we'll move on to the main quest phase. In the main quest phase, this is where most of the action will be taking place. From making attacks to preparing spells and items and summoning creatures. Start out our turn by simply summoning a creature. Since we are level 4, we can have a total Ronom worth of 4 creatures on the board. By that I mean we can have Firestarter and Kabuskan Fighter on the board, since their total Ronoms together is 4. Or we could have just Firestarter. But we could not have Firestarter and Firepopper both on the board at the same time, since their Ronom added together is greater than our current level. When it comes to spells and items, their Ronom must be equal to or lower than your level to play them, and you must have a creature or equipment on the field that is the same faction as that spell or item in order to play it. To play a spell or item, you must have a spell or item slot open to play it, and when the effect resolves, you will send it to the graveyard. If you're playing an instant or reaction and you want to save it for your opponent's turn, just play it face down in a spell or item area till the turn is over, and you can use it at a later point in the game. Creatures cannot attack the turn they are summoned or played unless something says otherwise. You can attack with an equipment that you have equipped that turn. Attacks can be made against anything that isn't itself. For example, your creatures can attack each other, they can attack you, you can attack your creatures, or they can target any opponent's creatures or an opponent for an attack. When you declare an attack, you're going to turn your card 90 degrees to signal you are attacking. Once you have decided you no longer would like to attack anything, or you are satisfied with your turn or cannot do anything else, you may go ahead and end your turn, and then your opponent will start their turn, and so on back and forth till one player's health reaches 0. A game is not over till the last person is standing if you are playing with more than 2 people. 2 ways of losing is for your health to reach 0, or during your ready phase not being able to draw because of no cards left in your deck for 3 consecutive turns. Now that we are done talking about phases, we'll move into talking about how combat works, how damage is dealt and received, and we will talk about how cards will resolve when multiple cards are activated one after another. Like I was talking about in the ready phase, cards will become on guard, which is called becoming ready. When they're turned sideways, they're off guard. Cards when they are on guard and when they are off guard will deal damage differently. When you declare an attack, you turn your card to represent you are attacking with that card. You can pick any target you would like to attack that you are allowed to attack. Yourself, another one of your creatures, one of your opponent's creatures, your opponent. In this example, we'll have Scared Goblin attack Fire Ferret. Scared Goblin gets turned sideways. Scared Goblin's attack power is 1 and health is 1. Fire Ferret's attack is 1 and his health is 1. So they will both wind up doing 1 damage to each other, and they will both get sent to the graveyard. If you attack with your weapon, you'll turn it sideways. My weapon has 1 attack. I'll attack my opponent, whose weapon has 1 attack, meaning we will both take 1 damage. Now, this is where the difference on being on guard and off guard take place. We'll go ahead and leave the board as it is and move to the fire player attacking the person who is off guard. I will still turn my card to attack. Since I am attacking an off guard target, the player or creature that is off guard deals half the damage rounded down. Since my card's attack is 1, I'll be doing half of that rounded down, which is 0. So I will deal no damage back to the fire opponent, and the earth deck will take 1 damage. When it becomes the ready phase on the earth player's next turn, his card will be ready, he will be on guard, and his opponent will be off guard. A couple more examples: if your Combusken Fighter is to attack and he is off guard, he will only deal 1 damage to whatever attacks him. Mineral Golem, if he is off guard and his attack, he can only deal half rounded down damage back to the opponent. Half would be 1.5, rounded down would be 1. So he would only deal 1 damage back to the opponent, compared to when he makes the attack normally, he would deal the full 3 damage. Just like when you take damage in this game, you do not get your health back until you are healed. Your creatures, when they take damage, their health will stay down till they are healed. Here's a quick example on how cards are resolved when one card's activated after another card, and then so on back and forth. For example, our fire player decides to activate the card Sparks. As the first card, he will select the targets for his card. It says he has to deal 1 damage to 2 different creatures. Let's say he picks Fire Popper and he picks Scared Goblin. Now the Earth player gets a chance to respond. Our Earth player responds with Tough Skin. Decrease damage dealt to target player or creature until end of turn. He's going to target his Scared Goblin. Now, Scared Goblin will reduce the next damage it will take by 1. Our Fire player gets a chance to respond with any spells, items, or abilities that can be activated during this time. Since the Fire player does not have any cards to respond with, we will resolve everything in reverse order. Since Tough Skin was activated last, it will resolve first, making the next damage Scared Goblin takes reduced by 1. Now Sparks resolves. Sparks deals 1 damage to Fire Popper and 1 damage to Scared Goblin. Fire Popper still takes the damage. If a card causes another card to activate its ability, that ability will start a new chain of cards after this chain ends, and there's no more cards to resolve. That is a very basic rundown on if somebody activates a card. You can also activate cards in response to people declaring attacks or ending phases. If a card is activated in response to an attack getting declared, the first card on the stack will still be the first card activated in response to the attack. And then damage will happen after all cards on the stack are resolved. Now that we have resolving sequence done for chain of cards, thank you for watching a tutorial on Soulforger the card game. Feel free to please join the Facebook group or Discord, Instagram. Subscribe to this YouTube channel even. Updates will be posted when they are available on our Discord and Facebook group more than anything. Also, the main website will be updated periodically as much as it can be. If you have any questions or would like anything cleared up, please leave a comment below. Join the Discord, ask someone around. All these cards can also be printed on the website from a PDF file. You can click, download, and then print. You can cut them out and sleeve them as you would proxies and use those to play with your friends. You can also play here on Tabletop Simulator. This tutorial is mostly a basic tutorial to get it out there and help people learn how to play. There will be an updated, cleaner, nicer version of the tutorial. Thank you so much again for sitting down, watching, and learning about the game.